This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day. Carefully crafted for you by humans, so meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fully Managed. You guys know what we do here. This is the podcast where we talk about marketing, we talk about business, we talk about all of the cool things to help assist you in your business journeys. And you know me, the host, Daniela, and I'm Penji's partnership coordinator. Today, I have a very cool guest, Ankur Pandey from Longshot AI. Hi, Ankur. Or did I pronounce your name properly, actually? Let's start with that.
It's almost correct. It's Ankur.
Ankur. Okay.
Yeah.
Ankur Pandey or Padley?
Pandey.
Pandey. Okay. Ankur Pandey. Ankur.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Ankur is great. Yeah, it's fine.
I butchered worst. So I'm kind of proud of that. Thank you so much for being here, Ankur. I'm so excited to have you and have our episode.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So to break the ice a little bit and get us started with the podcast, why don't we start by playing a fun game? It's really chill, so don't worry, not gonna put you on the spot. We're just gonna play a game of this or that, and just tell me which ones you prefer. And I'm gonna give you some prompts, okay?
Sure.
Okay, the first one, ice cream in the winter or soup in the summer?
Ice cream in the winter.
Yeah, I'm an ice cream in the winter too, girly. Time travel to the past or the future?
Future.
Interesting. Always 5 minutes early to every event or be always 10 minutes late?
5 minutes early. I was 5 minutes early, by the way.
Yeah. Be able to teleport or read minds?
Okay, that's a tough one, but I'd say read minds.
Really? I always feel like the power of reading minds is kind of like a curse because you have to listen to every single thought. And I feel like sometimes people have not so kind thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Like, yeah, it's a curse, but I like cursor, right? So, that's what it is. Like.
Okay. And the last question. Socks with sandals or Crocs with no socks?
Crocs with no socks is my everyday wear. That's how I roll.
Crocs with no socks is actually pretty comfortable. I feel like Crocs with socks makes me want to die because my feet are boiling. I don't know if that's me only, but Crocs with no socks. Like I totally agree with you. Well, that was great. We just got to know you a little bit, but now that we have broken the ice, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Ankur, what you guys do at Longshot AI, everything that the audience has to know who is not familiar with you or what you do. The floor is yours to introduce yourself.
Sure. So again, thanks, Daniela, for a warm welcome and, having a fun icebreaker. Hi everyone. My name is Ankur Pandey. I'm an AI SaaS entrepreneur from based out of Mumbai in India. I hope some of you might have traveled here or at least heard of it. So what I do, I've been in, basically entrepreneur, mostly like a bootstrap entrepreneur since last 8 years or so. Built lots of SaaS startups, exited one, and then currently my major startup which I run is called Longshot AI, which is basically a content co-pilot for SEO teams. There's another SaaS, which is a bit early, which we run called Intro AI, which is basically a collection of AI agents for sales teams. And I also, offer AI agents as a service in terms of consulting. So, this is because every way people want to ask, seek help from our experiences in building AI agents. And because of my background, my focus has been on a lot of GTM stack, content marketing, SEO, sales, outreach, prospecting, things like that, right? So basically, if I were to summarize everything which I do, it's automating or AI-fying GTM stack. that's the kind of the core of what I do.
That's so interesting. So before I get into too much into like with all of everything that you guys do with AI and the content, I'm curious if like with long form content, what is actually something that you have enjoyed lately when it comes to content creation online that is not optimized for SEO or that you feel like has not been, I guess, used with AI and still has had just like a person writing?
So the question is that, what I've enjoyed in terms of, do you mean to ask that, is there a content piece which I enjoyed reading? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like on a personal level, so we do, so the difference between SEO content and other content would be that primarily SEO content is for a marketing purpose. Like, you want people to see your audience primarily for business reasons, etc. Right? So, but then there are, of course, like I would love to see, read friends' blogs and, etc. Right? Things like that. And then like popular ones like, Scott, Anderson is a person whose blog I enjoy. It may or may not be SEO optimized. I don't really know and care. So and this is actually the point, right? Like, it's not that, you have to do some special thing to do it SEO optimized necessarily. If the content is good, the job of the search engine essentially should be, maybe it's not true as much as we would like it to be, is to bring it to their right audience.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the long and short of it anyway. So I enjoy, multiple blog posts from the authors I admire, etc. There's the one name I took, and it's kind of, pretty long list. So when you have a very long list, then it's actually confusing. So yeah, that's it.
I'm with the amount of like ethical pushback that AI has received, and I think just in general, specifically with the creator, I would say. But I mean, when I say creator, I mean just like any type of person who creates anything that is now being created by AI. So like designers and video editors and animators and writers. Like I think a lot of these people are being affected with AI having sort of a thing going on. And I have seen the discourse of people being like, oh, like AI sucks. Like, I don't like this. Like, it's stealing our jobs. That argument is so rampant right now. And just like complete, just like not wanting to like have AI do anything. With that sort of resistance being what is, I think, perceived in the zeitgeist. How have you been able to navigate this in Longshot AI with what you offer in your service? And I'm assuming like what people are going to say to this.
So great question. And I think, I started Longshot about 4 years back, and there has been, so I would say that these 4 years, because these last 4 years were very eventful in terms of AI, right? I mean, especially like AI SEO, and lots of AI products came in, right? So it seems like, it's these more than a decade worth of learning, sometimes unlearning also happened in this last 4 years. So when we started out, right, like, we used to get these kind of concerns from people and on one end saying that nobody is going to ever read AI content, or AI can never be so good. So remember, I'm talking about the era of GPT-2, not even 3, right? So all that, right? And till now that AI is here to stay. Everybody uses AI, like either for personal reasons or professional reasons. So it's just that how do we sort of, make use of it in a professionally enriching as well as hopefully ethically, admissible way, right? So now specifically in terms of SEO, right? See, the thing is that one has to remember that SEO content, the reason of SEO content for the most part is not necessarily about you showcasing your writing skills, right? It is about reaching to a desired audience. So let's dial back, let's say 5 years back or 10 years back. A good SEO team or a good, SEO content writers, they're not going to just pick their pen proverbially and just going to write. Like, they're going to research the audience. They're going to sort of, then take out the point what your competition has written. Maybe there are content gaps we should focus on. And then, so this is exactly what AI is doing right now, right? I mean, at least sensibly speaking. So if the AI can, let's say, speed up these parts, researching what should be written, figuring out the gaps, figuring out what is there, which you should focus on, and then bringing that element, right? So I think this is, fine, I would say, right? Like, because at the end of the day, it is your audience would love to know something about it. and you are basically creating content at speed, they don't really care. And by the way, there's a pervasive myth that Google is going to, penalize, or a search engine are going to penalize. And it's not the case. Obviously, if you are going to use AI, for example, without any, like completely senseless, in a senseless manner, just copying, pasting the first thing which the chat GPT sort of, ejects out, then it is going to be a low quality content, which there are signals to track, right? But at the end of the day, if you kind of, sculpt carefully, right? It's like this. The analogy I would like to give is this. If let's say you're trying to drill a hole, right? Nobody's going to give an award for did you drill it manually with like a screwdriver, or did you use a drilling machine, right? At the end of the day, you have to, do a good job, right? If the hole you have dug, quote unquote, is good, is doing the job, is able to sort of fit the thing you, for example, you want to hang or whatever, right? So then it is fine, right? So this is exactly what I would say. There's another caveat I would say, because of all these AI coming up and, people now using AI as a kind of first search engine. Nobody is really interested to, or I would say nobody is that interested to read if you write very generic content. So let's say if you write a blog on what is SEO, nobody is going to bother, right? Because you can ask an AI agent, is going to do a good job. But let's say if you are going to write a blog on that, what are the, let's say a listicle blog, what are the new companies working on SEO? This is a blog which either people are going to read, or even, the search engine is going to index. Let's say, what are the new ranking parameters in SEO? For example, let's switch a gear to some other industry. Let's talk about solar, I don't know, like installation companies, right? I'm just making up something. So what is solar installation? What is the use of solar installation? I think those are bad ideas to kind of produce content on, right? Because even if you Google these terms, the search snippets themselves are going to be really useful. But let's say, if you want to write content on a very specific thing, like new innovation in solar, for example, installation, new technology, what kind of companies exist, things like that. That's very informative. So if you bring in that, right, audience going to come to you, or if not, the search engines or even chat GPTs of the world are going to basically make sure that the audience is going to come to you either via search engines directly or indirectly using these generative AI bots like ChatGPT and others, right? So this is what our experience has shown us. So over to you, Daniel.
That's very interesting. And when it comes to actually being able to be in a market where I think it's like so competitive, I think with the surge of AI, you have the one side, which we talked about, which is like opposing it. And then we have the other side of people who are embracing it to the point where I feel like we see a lot of companies popping up that are doing AI and they're offering it to solve problems, right? So whether it's content, CRMs, I think I've seen it for, I think I've seen AI for just like any kind of SaaS company, AI based that you can imagine. Yeah. How have you guys been able to stand out in the market that is right now is competitive, and it's obviously going to be getting increasingly more competitive as AI advances and as like more tools pop up?
Yeah. So this is like, it's a constant. So SaaS in general, and now more so, especially these AI first companies, the day wherein you build a product and then you market it and then people come is gone. You have to have this constant cycle. So there's kind of an uphill battle pretty much every day. So which means that, you have to keep on bringing features which are new, etc., from there to even marketing strategy. So for example, in Longshot, we first thing is that we eat our own food, like in the sense that we use our own product to do our own SEO, right? So that's there. But apart from that, we bring in other things. For example, now we are bringing, now everybody's talking about agents, right? Like there's a lot of confusion and some fuzziness and buzzword also. But essentially what it means is that people now want even more automation. So let's say, what if an agent can just, like without you doing it, typing it, the agent can keeps on running in the background, keep on researching the audience and your competition and seeing gaps and producing the content, pushing on the website, right? So this is also what people are expecting. And we are trying to build it. So to answer the question, we are, in terms of marketing and pushing, we are trying to eat our own food in terms of what new things people are asking for People are asking for more autonomous way of interacting with software. So there's even in SaaS right now, because as you said, right, there are so many tools. People don't want to buy yet another one. So the strategy for a tool also is that I'm not going to trouble you. I'm going to be invisible, right? I'm going to disappear from your eyes. I'm just going to do the job which you intended to do, right? So agent running the background, doing the job, pushing in a WordPress or your blog, like your CMS platform. If you want to intervene, it's your choice, but you don't have to, right? So we are also moving into that direction. So just to give you like a brief example, we are currently bringing in content generation agents and, there's a lot of demand for, can you create agents which help in pushing my brand on ChatGPT, Perplexity, etc. We are doing that, right? Then there are issues with content factual accuracy. So an agent which can keep on checking for factual accuracy if they exist, and then alerting you or correcting it automatically. Now, the reason this could have happened before also, but the new style in which it is happening is that you don't have to maybe log in and enter yourself, nothing, right? It is happening behind the scene. It is happening in some sense invisible. You don't have to bother. The job is done and you are alerted, right? So this is we are seeing that our customers are demanding and we are building it, right? So, but is this like the end of the story? No way, right? Maybe 3 months down the line, if we sync up again, I probably have some other thing for you. So, but this is currently what we're doing.
Yeah, I think another thing that I wanted to bring up was how my opinion is that, this is like probably the worst that we're going to see AI, it's only going up from here. So obviously, as it progresses, I think everybody else is going to continue to grow with it, as the industry as a whole. But
are you talking about the SEO industry or specifically SEO or content industry or in general?
No, I think AI in general, because I think I've seen people talk about how I don't know if you've seen this, but with AI, especially with generative AI, right? We still see some gaps in where you can still see the AI is not 100% there.
For sure. I told you, right? I told you, I run another startup called Intro AI, which is about sales AI. Now, the sales AI is not that mature, for example, because people still don't want to be sold by an AI, right? So therefore, in Intro, we don't try to use AI to sell. What we do is we only use AI to find your right customers and make a pitch. After that, you take over, right?
No, and like you said, I think AI is just kind of supportive right now. You have to still kind of go in and fix it. Because I think I've seen people who those generative AI images where you can ask ChatGPT to make a Studio Ghibli version of you. I don't know if you saw that. It was really popular. Or the Barbie version of you, right?
Yeah, I created it for all my family members, right? So
yeah, and I think you still see that there's not perfection, especially with motion, because you still see motion being weird. You can still be seeing some. I used to do this generative AI one where it made me pregnant, and it gave me I remember it gave me a hand on a belly, and it gave me 7 fingers.
Yeah.
So
that's there.
There's still those type of things in different industries where AI is being applied to. I think with content writing, if you make an AI write something, just like you said earlier, if you just put a prompt on ChatGPT, you're going to have a trash article because you still don't the AI is just going to write something really generic and pull it from whatever sources it's pulling it from, but it's not really going to make it special. You're going to have to go in and sort of edit that to make it less.
Yeah.
It'd be AI is still a little bit too extra or not getting the voice or the tone or whatever it is that you want.
Mm-hmm.
But I always think okay, it's still imperfect, but AI is so young. So this version is the as if you're comparing it to a computer, this is what really big computers in the 80s were and it's already so advanced. So
absolutely,
if you give it a few years, it's going to be even better, right?
So of course, this is I told you, right, in the last 4 years of building Longshot and other products, it seems that we have probably seen a decade worth of experience, because if you talk about even content AI, right, in 2021, which sounds like ancient history right now, it was people laugh at it, right? So people's expectations also increase, by the way, right? You would be amazed to see if you compare the best AI production article to even the worst one right now. So you're right, like AI itself progresses. There's another thing. It also depends on how it's like AI is a set of tool or a set of tool, but how you use it is also one of the important factors. So the job of people like us is how do you, for example, create high quality prompts and high quality this sort of frameworks and workflows so that our content is much better than even the general purpose chat GPT style content, right? So there are two things. AI in general is improving, but it's also your skill. How can you best leverage it? So for example, in the Ghibli prompt, after producing, let's say 30 Ghibli images, I actually understood that, what are the best ways to do it, right? Some tricks of the trade, right? So that, which I think is in all the professions.
Yeah, like the Julie images thing was also just like super viral. Everybody was doing it. And I do think that if you were able to leverage that, it was probably going to be like a really good thing because everybody was looking into that at the moment.
Yeah.
But you kind of have been talking about how like AI has, like especially with you guys at Longshot, you can sort of use this as a tool to make content better, right? But what do you think are the mistakes that people are doing when it comes to the utilization of AI for whether it's SEO and content creation towards or marketing or whatever purpose that they're using it for? I'm curious to know why you think a lot of people are misusing AI tools and not knowing how to purposely make them leverage them towards their own benefit.
Mm-hmm. So first thing they're doing is that they are probably, let's say somebody is given it. I mean, let's say people think that creating content is the end all and be all of SEO, right? So therefore they'll, for example, it's very common for at least newbie content writers to just, give the first prompt, do some minor tweaks and call it a day, right? Which is not really, the end goal is that you want to create something, some content, which basically is like search engines bring in front of your eyes. So there are lots of steps and people think that AI can, in just a single prompt can take care of that. It's not true, right? So there are some specialized tools like ourselves, like there are others also which exist. And then we also time to time give we create videos and tutorials how to best leverage it. So I think in content specifically, people are misusing it. First thing is kind of trying to create very low quality content sometimes, right? And which is, the social media also saying it's very easy to actually detect social media posts which are, kind of written using AI. So because of that, sometimes the people who actually make judicious use of it also gets a bad rap, right? So this is one thing I've seen. The second thing I've seen, and which is also one thing we work on actively, is that AI still has a problem of hallucination. It is reduced, but still there, right? Especially in sensitive industries. For example, if you want to create healthcare content or legal content, you have to double check and you have to make sure that there's enough guardrails in place, right? So people, let's say if you just give it a prompt that, there is this, my data and just create a blog, it can conjure up something like it can make up some disease name, stuff like that, right? So there you have to be extra careful, extra sensitive, especially in domains like healthcare, legal, fintech, stuff like you can guess, right? Which are somewhat sensitive. The numerically, there are more numbers and stuff like that. So there you have to be even more sure of, how you're leveraging it. And there has to be even more tighter guardrails, human in the loop, editorial interventions time to time. One of our clients, for example, is a media company which produces which uses AI, but then they have editors who kind of, check it, right? So we have to be very strict, even because the thing is that as a product, we want to, even there are editorial interventions, even then we want to give the as low error as possible. So we have a lot of, tricks up, which make sure that, the content is less hallucinatory. The content is not made up, right? So this is also one issue I'm seeing, that you read a content, and I've seen it in actually big brands. I've seen their blog posts where numbers are completely, made up, stuff like that, right? And it is easy to text for people who have spent their time.
Yeah, because AIs will literally make up whatever. And there's specific content that you have to be careful with. Because if you ask a prompt to an AI, it will literally come up with whatever. just to answer what like the question that you have. So you have to make sure that this is checked. I think what I
this is just to add on to it, this is decreasing. I'm like with the AI improving, this is decreasing, but still it's still not as low as we would like to be. And also it's like this, right? Like, in sensitive industry, even if you make an error, like let's say 1 out of 100 times, it can still have like a kind of a like really bad, like devastating effects, right? So there even low errors may not be, kind of, for example, may not be acceptable. So,
do I've also like noticed that for content, because I feel like content writing, like specifically for writers, that's not something that everybody has kind of like an interest or a knack for. And I think with the surge of AI, a lot of people have sort of relied on it for that purpose. But I've noticed that, like, for example, like for people who are trying to grow on LinkedIn, I see so many LinkedIn posts that are so obviously AI generated. And I'm not an AI expert, but I just know because they're so long, they're so detailed, and they're so like generic to like random tips on LinkedIn where you can tell that they just wrote the prompt for like, make me a LinkedIn post about thought leadership. And then it's it's like, it's got a bunch of emojis and hashtags and it's like this big. And I feel like,
but then you'll be surprised to know that sometimes even the comments on them and the likes and reaction, them might be AI, right? For all you know.
Yeah.
So it's like AI serving itself, right? So
yeah, literally. And I feel like it's like, I don't know how effective that is because
it's not,
at the end of the day, like if I'm going to connect with someone, follow them on LinkedIn, I want them to provide value. And I don't know how much value they're providing, not necessarily because they used an AI bot to generate a post, but because I can tell that this was completely manufactured from like...
And this is a problem. So problem is not that they use AI. Problem, it's like, they use in a very shallow sense, right? So if you can see, I mean, the thing is that if you actually are a power user of AI, it's a tool to actually see, sometimes your own thoughts are so muddled and unclear to even yourself, right? I mean, I actually recently spent maybe a few hours, like kind of getting on a date with Claude, right? Basically, talking and, basically conversing. And it was kind of a therapeutic session for me, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Because it kind of like lots of things which like not going too much personal details, but kind of, which I would probably not have thought of resurface. And what I really think, what I value, what I admire, what I want to share, they came on forth. But that's about it, right? After that, my agency should take over, right? So I completely agree with you. In the sense that, if people are saying that people outsource their thinking to AI, this is very apparent. See, humans are actually we are wired to actually notice that signal. The reason you can identify is because, like millions of years you have basically sort of, not millions of years, but at least, like 2 lakh years as the species arose, you have been, kind of basically evolutionarily trained to detect what is human really. And this is not. But if you use AI to kind of, tidy up your thoughts and then maybe, push it there, then it's great, right? You can use it for spell checks and you can use it for maybe better formatting. That's fine, right? So I hear you. But this is, I think, until there is a platform level restriction, people are going to do it, right? So
no, I agree. And I think that's where I see like a lot of misutilization. It's just like not, like you said, like muddled thoughts that happens. I definitely think that helps with generic usage of just superficial, write something, that's what you get. And I think that's a great way to end this podcast on Ankur. But before we finish, I do want to give you the space to tell our audience where they can find you. If there's anything that we spoke about today that resonated with them and they would like to talk to you or work with you or learn more about Longshot AI, I want to give you the space. I've had so much fun on podcasts, but we are running out of time. So
sure. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, thanks, Daniela. And I mean, it was pretty candid and very, basically a friendly conversation, like more than, formal podcast. But then, I mean, so for people who are interested in what we do and you can basically find, like just Google Longshot AI or whatever, you'll find me. Specifically, I'm very active on LinkedIn. So you can see whatever I write on LinkedIn. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, ping me on LinkedIn, and we'll take it from there, right? So we also, like as I told, right, we also use like our experience in building lots of AI frameworks and agents to consult people who may not be looking at our tools. Let's say you want a help which is not about SEO or sales, and you don't want to use my product, but you still want to talk, maybe seek our advice. So happy to do that too. So yeah.
Awesome. No, I will be adding the links so that people do use your product. So guys, go to Longshot AI. Yeah, you guys know you saw Ankur, and if anybody is interested to talk to him, I will also add his LinkedIn information. And everybody watching, subscribe to the YouTube channel, listen to us, give us a great review, thumbs up, do the whole shebang. Thank you so much for being here, Ankur. Everybody watching, viewers, followers, I will see you on the next episode.
Ciao.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest, and to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend, and of course, subscribe.